We've covered before how the Termina contestants would fare against the dungeon, but how would Lagarde's rescue party, Lagarde included, do against Termina? We'll be going from most interesting to least interesting, and I think the most interesting one is the girl. Usually, the younger someone is, the better they are at adapting to new technology. The girl, being the youngest in the group, would have no problem getting used to the new technologies of the early 20th century, and I can definitely see while the rest of the gang is trying to figure out what this technology does and how it works, the girl just kind of in the corner fiddling and around with the radio and just listening to some tunes. Her ability to get used to new technology just by virtue of being young also comes in pretty handy for the rest of the since while everyone else would be stuck in their ways and trying to use melee weapons, the girl would probably figure out how to use a firearm or at least how to discharge one. Next up is Enki, and Enki would just make a beeline for the library. I'm pretty sure when it comes to technology, the girl's gonna be the one who figures that all out first, but when it comes to the situation at hand on the more, gods interfering with mankind side, that's gonna be Enki's specialty. He'd probably figure out how the new gods function and how moon scorching works on a basic level. I also see Enki studying the city a whole lot. We know that it has a lot of artifacts and landmarks that are reminiscent or just continued on from the medieval age, and Enki, being someone from that time period, would find that incredibly strange. Why has this technology been adopted while this stuff from my time still exists? Next up is Kara, who, after having ice cream with the girl, would probably just scavenge and sort of ignore the main objective. Kahara doesn't seem like the kind of person who would care all that much about Termina, and he would probably just go off and do his own thing. I mean, in the first game, his entire shtick is that he has better things to do. Darce is there to meet her lover. Ragnvaldir is there for revenge. Both of them are pretty high-minded ideals. Kahara is there for some cash, and that's it. That's why I think Kahara wouldn't really care about the festival and just be focused on self-preservation. Up next is Lagarde, who would probably just meet himself, and after that is really anyone's guess. Maybe Lagarde, after figuring out what he would become, would never enter the dungeon in the first place. Maybe he would become a general or a second-in-command for his future self. Or maybe he would feel so insulted by what he would become that he tries to kill it immediately. I'm really not sure how things will pan out between the two, but the only thing I know for real is that there will be one hell of an interesting conversation. Up next is Darce, who, after trying to exercise a radio, would just follow Lagarde everywhere. It's what she does in the first game, and I see no reason why she wouldn't do it now. Now we're gonna finish things off with Ragnvaldir, who is the easiest and, surprisingly enough, the least interesting one. He is the god of ultraviolence, and he would march right at the moon tower and give Rare a piece of his mind. Overall, I see the group splitting apart between Darce and Lagarde, who are gonna go meet future Lagarde, and the rest of the group just steamrolling their way to the moon tower, with Ragnvaldir leading the way. I heavily doubt they would ever split up and start fighting each other, because unlike the Termina contestants, they all have a genuine connection to each other. And at minimum, they all know of each other's abilities, and they all understand that working together would make their own survival more likely. And this is just a bit of a crack theory that I have, but I think they're going to be a lot more resistant to moon scorching, since moon scorching happens when someone loses their mind to the moon god, and these guys have literally faced off against the remnants of the old gods without losing their mind entirely, and they survived the much more sanity draining dungeon, which is why I think they would be more resistant and probably moon scorch a lot later than the contestants did.